In the annals of history, few battles echo with such defining force as Gaugamela, a clash of titans where the fate of empires hung precariously, shaping the course of Western civilization forever. Alexander the Great, a young king from Macedon, had already conquered lands stretching across Greece and Asia Minor, driven by an insatiable ambition inherited from his father, Philip II. Opposing him was Darius III, King of Kings, ruler of the vast Achaemenid Persian Empire. His domain was immense, his resources seemingly limitless, commanding an army of unparalleled size. After his defeat at Issus, Darius meticulously planned his next confrontation. He chose the wide plains of Gaugamela, near modern-day Mosul, to unleash his numerical advantage and famous war chariots. Darius mobilized an army estimated at hundreds of thousands, gathered from across his sprawling empire. Infantry, cavalry, war elephants, and scythed chariots were all part of his formidable force. Alexander, with a much smaller but highly disciplined and experienced Macedonian force, advanced cautiously. His intelligence network had informed him of Darius's preparations. The night before the battle, the Persian camp was a cacophony of sound and light. Darius kept his men awake, fearing a surprise Macedonian night attack, a mistake he deeply regretted. In contrast, Alexander's camp was quiet. He famously slept soundly, trusting his meticulous planning and the readiness of his veteran troops, a stark difference in leadership. On October 1st, 331 before Christ, as the sun rose, both armies arrayed themselves. Darius's lines stretched for miles, a truly awe-inspiring sight, confident in overwhelming numbers. Alexander positioned his elite companion cavalry on his right flank, with the formidable Macedonian phalanx forming the center, bristling with sarissas, their long spears gleaming. Darius arrayed his best cavalry on the flanks, with his scythed chariots at the front, intended to break the Macedonian lines. War elephants loomed in the background. Alexander began his famed oblique march, moving his entire right wing further and further to his right, drawing the Persian cavalry wider, away from their prepared ground. Darius, fearing he would be outflanked, ordered his left-wing cavalry to attack, attempting to halt Alexander's movement. This was exactly what Alexander wanted. The opening engagement was a furious cavalry skirmish on Alexander's right flank as Persian and Macedonian riders collided in a cloud of dust and chaos. Next, Darius unleashed his feared scythed chariots. They thundered across the plain, a terrifying sight designed to shatter the Macedonian phalanx. But the Macedonian phalanx was prepared. They opened their ranks, allowing the chariots to pass through, then closed in, trapping and destroying them from the sides. As the Persian cavalry on Darius's left pursued Alexander's shifting right flank, a crucial gap opened in the center of the Persian line, near Darius himself. Alexander saw his opportunity. With a sudden, decisive move, he led his companion cavalry directly into this newly formed breach, aiming straight for Darius. Chaos erupted around Darius as Alexander's elite cavalry carved a path through the Persian immortals, the king's personal guard, in a desperate struggle. Faced with the terrifying reality of Alexander's approach and having witnessed his chariots fail, Darius's nerve broke. The King of Kings made a fateful decision. He turned his royal war chariot and fled the battlefield, deserting his army. This act, the second time he had fled Alexander, sealed his army's fate. The sight of their emperor fleeing shattered the morale of the vast Persian army. Confusion turned into panic into a full-scale rout. Alexander, after a brief attempt to pursue Darius, was alerted to a desperate situation developing with his left flank, which was under heavy attack. While Alexander was focusing on Darius, Indian and Persian cavalry broke through the weakened Macedonian left wing, threatening their camp and baggage train. Alexander swiftly turned his companion cavalry back to aid his threatened comrades, fighting their way through the surging Persian forces. The fighting was brutal, with heavy casualties on both sides. Alexander's cavalry, exhausted from their earlier charge, pushed through the enemy. Despite the temporary setback, the larger Persian army continued its full retreat, with Alexander eventually re-engaging in pursuit of Darius. Though a decisive victory, Gaugamela was not without its cost. Both sides suffered significant losses, a testament to the ferocity of the engagement. Alexander pursued Darius relentlessly, hoping to capture the Persian king and truly end the war decisively. but Darius escaped into the eastern satrapies. Following Gaugamela, Alexander marched unopposed into Babylon, then Susa, seizing immense Persian treasures and securing vast empire resources. Perhaps the most symbolic act was the burning of Persepolis, the ceremonial capital of the Achaemenid Empire, a fiery end to Persian dominance. Darius III's flight ultimately led to his betrayal and assassination by his own satrap, Bessus, a tragic end for the King of Kings. Alexander, upon finding Darius's body, mourned his rival and later captured and executed Bessus for his treachery, solidifying his role as legitimate successor. Gaugamela effectively marked the end of the Achaemenid Persian Empire, a civilization that had endured for over 2 centuries, and the birth of Alexander's new Hellenistic world. Alexander's victory was a triumph of generalship, logistics, and discipline against overwhelming numbers. His strategic brilliance was on full display. His hammer and anvil tactic, combining a holding force with a decisive cavalry charge, became a textbook example for military commanders for centuries to come. The defeat of Persia allowed the spread of Greek culture, language, and philosophy across vast new territories, profoundly influencing the future development of the West. Alexander's conquests, solidified at Gaugamela, laid the foundations for the Hellenistic Age, an era of unprecedented cultural blending and scientific advancement. From the sands of Gaugamela, Alexander emerged not just as a king, but as a legend, forever etched into the military history of the world. Though the Achaemenid Empire fell, Persian culture and identity endured, influencing subsequent empires and civilizations for millennia. Gaugamela wasn't merely a battle. It was a pivotal moment where one civilization's tide receded and another's surged forward with unstoppable force. Darius III, despite his failures, was a king caught in the path of an unprecedented military genius. His reign tragically ended an ancient lineage of kings. After Gaugamela, Alexander was recognized as the undisputed ruler of Asia, hailed as pharaoh in Egypt and king of Persia. His fascination with Egypt led him to found Alexandria, a city that would become a beacon of Hellenistic learning and culture for centuries. The Library of Alexandria, though conceived later, exemplified the intellectual spirit sparked by Alexander's vision of a unified cultural sphere. Gaugamela fueled Alexander's drive to push further east, into India, seeking the ends of the world, a quest that ultimately tested his army's loyalty. Maintaining such a vast empire required immense skill. Alexander faced mutinies and political challenges, even as his military victories continued. He attempted to fuse Greek and Persian cultures through intermarriage and administrative integration, a bold vision for his new empire. However, Alexander's sudden death at 32 plunged his empire into disarray. His personal vision of a united realm perished with him. His generals, known as the Diadochi, carved up his vast domain, leading to decades of brutal civil wars and the formation of new Hellenistic kingdoms. The largest of these, the Seleucid Empire, encompassed much of Alexander's former Asian territories, continuing Persian administrative traditions under Greek rule. In Egypt, Ptolemy founded a dynasty that ruled for nearly 3 centuries, with Alexandria as its glittering capital, famous for its cultural output. Macedon itself remained under the Antigonid dynasty, preserving some semblance of Alexander's original homeland and military prowess. The military tactics showcased at Gaugamela influenced later Roman generals, who studied Alexander's campaigns as models of strategic brilliance. Gaugamela encapsulates Alexander's audacious leadership, tactical innovation, and the sheer force of will that reshaped the ancient world. Beyond the glory, it reminds us of the immense human cost of empires, forged and broken on the battlefield with blood and sacrifice. Alexander's spirit, fueled by ambition and a belief in his divine destiny, drove him to achievements that few in history have ever matched. Despite its fall, the spirit of Persian culture would rise again through subsequent dynasties, continuing its rich contributions to art, science, and governance. What if Darius had not fled? What if his chariots succeeded? History would undoubtedly tell a very different tale of ancient empires. Gaugamela remains a testament to the power of human ingenuity and courage, demonstrating how a single day can forever alter civilization's path. If you were captivated by this epic tale, share your thoughts in the comments below. What other ancient battles shaped the world as we know it?